Good evening, folks. This is Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on Friday, February 2nd, 9:29 p.m., 2018. You're looking at Fuego, blasting pyroclastic flows and lava into the stratosphere nearly 5 miles over 20 hours yesterday in Guatemala. Excellent nighttime footage. We'll be discussing it later. I'll leave you links to this particular footage. There are dozens of videos coming out here. But let's get on with the update. You're looking at the GFS model for North America currently, and I'm just going to move it through the next few weeks. And as we get towards the middle of February, look at these minus 20 zone. Still in northern U.S. Let's just take it down for the next few days. Take a look at Pennsylvania's temperatures. 14, 18 on the 2nd, 12, 13 on the 3rd, 10 on the 3rd. The highest it's going to get on the 3rd is 24 degrees. Heads up, PA. And then another cold blast right here on the 5th. And then on the 6th. A troll on the channel is saying East Coast is above average. Not on the 6th. Definitely not on the 8th. Look at this polar vortex dipping here into the Great Lakes region. It is going to be frigid on the 8th for you folks. And it doesn't look any better as we get deeper. The 10th, it's dropping down here on the 12th. And then again, in the models, the minus 22 zone over the Great Lakes again. That's a heads up. Now let's get to the snowfall totals. Guys, in the next 72 hours, British Columbia is looking for 4 to 8 feet in certain areas in this gray zone. Look at these zones. And then at the end of the model run here, between the 6th and the 10th, the Northeast is going to be buried. Several feet of snow in the Adirondacks and all the way up through New England. Now, last night I talked about the no snow zone. It's too cold to snow. And a lot of trolls attacked me. They laughed. They said, there's no such thing as too cold to snow. What an idiot you are. No, I'm not an idiot. I'm a scientist. And there is such a thing as too cold to snow. It's been well known that when you get to minus 10 or minus 20 C, snowfall becomes unlikely in most places because very cold air contains very little moisture. So the snowfall is extremely minimal in these conditions, which is when you get this spattering of snow. But as we get towards middle February, you can see a little bit more snow dumping on the Canadian Shield up in the minus 20 zone. This snow will remain here and start building. That's how glaciation begins. So there is the curvature of where the glaciers start to move south. And the snow is beginning to fall. And let's talk about the temperatures. They're epic. So there is a too cold to snow and it's minus 20 C in most places. Extreme cold grabs hold of Northern Saskatchewan. An extreme cold weather warning is in effect for many Saskatchewan's northern and central regions. Uranium City, Fond du Lac, Stony Rapids, Creek, Key Lake. Environment Canada has issued the warnings Thursday afternoon as wind chill temperatures are expected to dip to minus 50. And that's a heads up. Minus 50. Mississauga issues extreme cold warnings. Ontario heads up. For the first time in a little while, the city of Mississauga has issued extreme cold weather alerts. The extreme cold weather is affecting Mississauga, with temperatures dropping below -20 this evening and overnight. For info on how to stay warm, you'll get links to this. Bitly. Go look at it. Environment Canada alert, extreme -40°C cold warning in effect for Montreal. -40°C cold warning. And there's that Arctic smoke coming off of that lake or that river. If you're heading outside today because it's going to get cold out there, heads up. -40. And that's today's first boom. I love that guy. Total volcano butt boom. Environment Canada alert, extreme -40°C cold for Montreal. Heads up. No easy fix for Cincinnati street cars that don't run in the cold. Why has this never happened before? They all have to be rebuilt in order to operate because it's so cold in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's been around for a long time, since the centennial minimum. Florida's cold spell kills dozens of manatees. If they were killed because of the warm, the headlines would be everywhere. These are hard to find. There was a 500% increase in manatee kills this winter. Recent cold spells have taken a toll on Florida's beloved sea cows. 35 manatees died from the cold between January 1st and the 26th, compared with just 7 over the same period last year, according to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Why are not all the environmentalists up in arms about this cold? Because their heads are not up yet. And that is a volcano butt boom. UK snow forecast, Britain set for a foot of heavy snow next week in the coldest freeze for a decade. Britain is facing the most severe winter freeze for almost a decade, with more than a foot of snow forecast widely as temperatures plummet to -15°C within days. And here's a picture of a plane wing. The entire nation is on heightened alert. Is that you? Are you scared? For a savage winter blast to unleash chaos amid warnings. Cold weather so far has only been a taste of things to come. Are you ready? Forecasters, health experts, and safety campaigners have sounded the alarm bells to be prepared and stock up ahead of extreme weather after the weekend. This is another test to see how the supermarkets hold up while you go unload all the milk and bread. There's probably cameras documenting all of it. So hurry up and empty up the shelves. Heavy snow will blanket Scotland, Wales, and most of England from midweek, with powerful Arctic gales threatening blizzards and mammoth snowdrifts. A powerful jet stream will swerve over Greenland and northern Canada and North Pole before diving directly over Britain, bringing the fury of the Arctic with it. And that is a butt boom of epic proportion. Boom! Are you ready, Britain? Thermometers will plummet on Sunday night, bringing lows of -10°C in parts before the mercury tumbles steadily through the week. Look at the colors on these maps. They have gone off the charts. They're even using pink, whatever that means. Daytime temps could dip to -10°C in Scotland, with lows of -7°C forecast across central England, and on and on. I'll leave you links. Area bigger than Victoria isolated in Kimberley after floods leave the highway underwater. We showed you pictures of the eroded northern coastal highway the other day, but an area twice the size of Victoria has been cut off in Western Australia's Kimberley after severe storms totally flux the region. Cosmic ray flux much? Hey, that chicken is smoking a cigarette. Is he allowed? About 100 kilometers of the road between Broome and Derby has been damaged. We had the first pictures coming in here. No one else did. And that's a heads up. Back to Fuego volcano. The opening footage. Eruption of Fuego forces school closures and orange alert issued. Guys, the volcanic ash was nearing the stratosphere at 21,000 feet. Guatemalan authorities have issued an orange alert for Fuego after its first eruption of the year on February 1st. Explosions at the volcano lasted 20 hours, generating pyroclastic flows and a column of ash up to 21,325 feet above sea level. Ash drifted up to 40 kilometers to the west and southwest. I'll leave you links to all this. This is an awesome article that the Watchers put together. Thank you guys. This will be the cover of the video tonight because it's so amazing. And we probably won't get demonetized because no one has claimed ownership to it. It's a good article, so take a look at it. You'll get links to it. Volcanic update. We have lots of volcanoes adding the fray. We have Fuego here on the February 3rd update, likely re-erupting. Yeah, there's another ongoing act that we're not covering currently. Right now, as the video is going on, this was not on the chart when we started. So we have Fuego, re-erupting, Reventador, Sabancaya, Suanos Hima, and the list is on and on. A new volcano to the list in just the last 24 hours is Karanga Tang. And I know you love that name. So we got Fuego, Popocatépetl, Karanga Tang, and Ducono, as well as Reventador, erupting in the last 72 hours. Here's the Karanga Tang footage. There was a plume emission reported, and this baby is awake. And that is definitely a volcano butt boom with lava. So that's a heads up. Let's talk about Karanga Tang. I'll leave you links to all of these things. That's down in the bottom left here under Oppenheimer Ranch. It says show more. Click on that. Karanga Tang volcano news and updates. This baby's been hot for the last 200 years, erupting here during the centennial minimum profusely. And this is an eruptive baby. So we're going to see some interesting activity coming from Karanga Tang. It's now listed at a 3 out of 5. We have explosive formation of lava domes and pyroclastic flows. Heads up, the flesh will be falling from your skin. Karanga Tang, if you're near there, go away. Let's look at the seismic update. Look at this. 6.0 here in Antarctica. Boom. Mid-ocean ridges are moving. They have been for months. And this is because of the earth is swelling. It's clear. Mid-ocean ridges are active. Greenland Sea. Here in the Irradiance Ridge. All mid-ocean ridges. Large activity. Let's check in the volcanic zone here. We have a 5.1, 28 kilometers west-southwest of Dedali, Solomon Islands. And a pretty significant quake popped off right when we're starting the video here in Ferndale. I'm sure knocking some heads. Yeah, we'll be posting that. So I'm sure nerves are being rattled on the West Coast because you're way overdue for at least a 6 point to 7 point any day now. 2.6 kicking off in Skagway, Alaska. Now, China's well aware of the uptick in earthquake and volcanic activity as we descend into grand solar minimums, which is why they invested highly on satellites, and they're now lofting earthquake research crafts with a cluster of satellites. The Chinese Long March 2D rocket successfully delivered 7 satellites into a 300-mile high orbit on Friday, boosting international missions to measure seismic signals that could help predict future earthquakes. And this will also be taking detailed imagery of the planet Earth and spying on you on a regular basis. And that's a boom. It is a slick rock heads up. Let's talk about some science. Solar activity was really at exceptional lows during the cold Maunder minimum. What's surprising is just how much data we have on the sun from 400 years ago and how the media and the mainstream is ignoring it. Now here's total sunlight levels suggesting the sun was very quiet during solar minimums, causing crop loss, famine, and global unrest. Now the world has warmed since 1680, and we're going to get to that because the January data is in and the trend is down. Look at how low we've dropped off. We're only at plus 0.26 degrees C above the standard deviation mean that goes back to 1979. And the level we're coming in at global temperature for January of 2018 is equivalent to the same standard deviation back in the 80s. And the trend since 2016 is the same angle you've seen from Wolf, Wishy, and the solar wind diminishment and the magnetosphere diminishment. It is straight down as predicted. So global warming alarmists are going to start to get very alarmed by 2019 because this now will fall below the standard deviation, my prediction, by 2019 here, bringing us below 1979 levels of temperature within 1 year, and then it will be far off this chart by 2020. So we have the latest UAH satellite-based temperature of the global lower atmosphere continuing to drop off on the pink slope since 2016. The hottest year ever. Man, I hope you're not still buying that crap. That's low, record low activity. Let's talk about total solar irradiance. It's in here. Here's the abstract. And this is just a wonderful paper to get you aligned with how we're talking about how the past is the key to the future and how detailed statistical analysis as well as proxy data is the key to understanding what's going to be happening in the future. So get familiar with solar activity and the graphs on that chart. Thank you, Joe Nova. Another excellent thing coming from the same source is humans live from minus 50 C to positive 40 C throughout the last 2 million years. That we know that human civilizations have been on the globe. And the entire population, well, let's say 80% of the sheep, have bought into the fact that 2 more degrees is going to kill us all. So you must panic now. You really should be worrying about the oncoming cold due to volcanic activity and the diminishing sun. And that is a heads up. And that's why this channel is currently doing daily updates, which is probably affecting my long-term health. And for good reasons. You are here, and it's all down from here, folks. And the temperature data is in this month. And the pink line is the predicted diminishment of the climate. And here's the larger scale picture. And we're in the green. Here we are, right here where I'm touching. And this is where it goes. So, in 20 years, we'll be here. Remember, humans live from minus 50 C to plus 40 C, so that means even if we go into a full glaciation, like we were in 12,950 years ago, we'll be fine if we are properly prepared for the oncoming cold. And we have sustainable sources of our own leafy green material, food crops, animal protein, and wild edibles. So start preparing now and learning how to survive and thrive in the future. Keep watching the channel. We'll be covering solutions on the new radio program as well as upcoming videos. We're going to be doing these videos every day until we are unable to broadcast. And that's a heads up. Global temperatures could pass the limit set by the Paris climate deal within 5 years. Oh my God! Let's listen. Let's look at this nonsense. If you still believe this and you haven't checked the data, I feel sorry for you. This is exactly the opposite of what's happening. This area is actually warming, and the areas in red are actually cooling. This is exactly opposite, and if you go look at yesterday's video, I show you the actual Maunder minimum data. and what's happening on the Earth. Now here it says global temperatures could surpass the limit set by the Paris Climate Agreement within the next 5 years. But they haven't looked at today's data. It's dropping off a cliff. And they're claiming that the temperature in the last 3 years has risen 1 degree C. This is degrees C here. So 1 degree C would be from the baseline up here off the graph. So in the last 3 years, 16, 17, 18, temperature has been dropping. And in fact, it has dropped from here. Let's say this is 0.85, and we're now at 0.26, over a half a degree C. Temperature has dropped since 2016. And that's a heads up. They're lying to you. It says at least 1 year in the next 5 could exceed the threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius. The Met Office should be shut down and lit on fire. It says it's now likely temperatures will blah, 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 blah. But they didn't look at the data. They simply cut and paste the fear-mongering nonsense. The temperature since 1980 is up 0.26 degrees if you use raw data. The temperature since 2016 is down 0.6 degrees C if you use raw data. Now, scientists find massive Mayan society under the Guatemala jungle using remote sensing and other amazing technologies. Specifically, the 3D image provided by Guatemala's Mayan Heritage and Nature Foundation called Bacunam shows a depiction of the Mayan archaeological site Tikal. I've been there. It's awesome, but I didn't know it was this huge. Look at this grand road here. And look at these waterways that they've created. This underground flowing system, far more advanced than any of our stupid cities today. Because there are no toxic waste dumps. There are no landfills. They were living harmoniously, connected to the universe. And this is Tikal in Guatemala. These images were created using LiDAR aerial mapping technology, and researchers announced on Thursday that using a high-tech aerial mapping technique, they found tens of thousands of previously undetected Mayan houses, buildings, defense works, and roads in the dense jungle. This is an amazing article. You should read it. The study estimates that 10 million people have lived in these lowlands, meaning that kind of massive food production might have been needed. Yeah, of course it was. And we're going to take a look at when that Mayan civilization existed. It began flourishing at 1000 BC here, after the Hallstatt disaster. It flourished through all the Roman warm, and here what I call the Gothic warm. It collapsed during this grand solar minimum, shortly after the European Dark Age. So after this collapse, the civilization rose, and then it collapsed based on solar cycles. Nothing else. Wars ensued in the middle, and wars were happening here. But in the end, they were consumed by the lack of food because of the changing climate, brought on by the total solar irradiance. Nothing else. So I'll leave you links to this. It's amazing to see how we used to live in the past and where we're going to be going in the future, thankfully. So once more, the January data is in and the drop-off is evident. I put the slope in here on this graph. I'll leave you links to this at Solar Shutdown and below, so you can share this with your friends. This is what the mainstream has to look at, and they're not going to be talking about it because the temperature is rapidly dropping off on the planet as predicted as we descend into the next grand solar minimum, which is going to change society forever, just like it did every other time here. The Vikings died off. The Roman Empire collapsed. The Minoan civilization. Gone. Here's modern technology ending. Probably somewhere right here at the arrow. You have 10 years at the most. Start preparing now. There's a lot to learn. And that's a boom. I hope you got something out of the video. Share this with like-minded people. Times are changing. And your time's running out. For locating the people that are like-minded that will help you survive and thrive in the future. Every day is an opportunity to learn something new. And I hope you're capitalizing on that. We love each and every one of you. Thank you for supporting the channel, and be safe.